welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today I have the most beautiful collection to share with you. This comes from Flower Nose, a Chinese beauty brand, and this is their latest unicorn collection. And I'm seriously about to show you the most beautiful makeup you have ever laid your eyes on, because when I first saw it, my jaw dropped. The footage will speak for itself, I'm sure, but it's just honestly the most beautiful makeup I've ever seen in my life, and I'm so excited to share it with you. So with that being said, if you want to see swatches, because I swatched everything, all the blushes, all the lip products on me, so you can see what it looks like on my skin tone, if you want to hear my thoughts on the formulation, or if you just want to have some makeup eye candy, we're going to talk all about it today. So with that being said, let's hop right into the review. So let me break down the collection for you and show you what everything looks like. It is just so pretty. I'm going to say that so much in today's video, so don't take a shot every time I say it's pretty, it's cute, it's beautiful. So first up in the collection, there are two setting powders that go for 42 USD, and as you can see, the outer packaging is just so luxe and beautiful. This is something you should not store away. You should keep it on top of your vanity. So the first shade is Porcelain, that has the purple pearlescent background, and when you open it up, there is a mirror inside along with a puff underneath the product. But Porcelain has more of like a pale yellow undertone to it, and as you can see, the embossment is so pretty, right? Like, look at all of those details, the ribbon border, the unicorn in the middle, take it all in. It is so pretty. Then we have the second shade, which is called Edelweiss, and this has more of like a pale blue pearlescent background to it. So when you open this one up, you will get a stark white powder, and again, it has that same embossment. And although that these powders are pretty much exactly the same, they don't claim to be anything different from each other, I do see a difference in the formula. So with this one, Porcelain, the pale yellow one, it's a little bit more powdery, which I do like. It has more of like a creamier texture to it compared to the stark white one. The stark white one feels a little bit, if I could describe it, like maybe a little bit plasticky, if that makes sense. If powder could be plasticky, but it is different from the Porcelain shade. So for me personally, I prefer the Porcelain formula more than the white one, because even when you swatch it, like, it feels like nothing is coming off. So maybe you need to scrape off the first layer to get that initial product to show. But I mean, it's so pretty, I don't want to scrape anything off, you know what I mean? Like, even swatching it, my heart hurts. But yeah, there is a difference of texture and formula between the two powders, and I definitely would recommend Porcelain. And I did use these to set my face in just with a powder puff. Today I use Porcelain, and I use the LH Cosmetics powder puff to set my face in, and I've been loving that actually. Like, I think my skin looks very matte. So when I set my face in, and by the time I'm finished with my completed look, I actually do need a little bit of a touch up, but I noticed with this I have not touched up yet, and my skin is still looking quite matte. So yeah, I've been really enjoying this Porcelain powder, especially. Not the white one, I can't recommend this one, but the Porcelain shade, beautiful. And yeah, I think it looks really good on the skin. It does cling on to dry patches a little bit, but I typically get that a lot with pressed powders because my skin is another story. But yeah, these are the first two products. How pretty are they? If I could choose one, I would go for Porcelain. And then next in the collection, we have these beautiful blushes. So there are 6 in total, and they go for 26 USD. Again, all of the packaging, the pearlescent background, all of them are different from each other, so that way you can tell which one is which. None of the backgrounds are the same, and these again are so pretty. They come in a very unique shape. It looks sort of like a shield, and then once you open it up, there is a mirror inside, and you have another beautiful embossment. Like, just the attention to detail, like, I just have to highlight this, guys. The packaging feels very luxe and high quality. Like, there is a bit of weight to it. It doesn't feel so light. So these are just absolutely beautiful. So let me share my thoughts on each of the shades. So first up, we have number 1, Snow Pearl, and this one on me is a light pale pink, and you are going to notice that a lot of these blushes are super pale and super almost white, especially on my skin. skin tone since I do have a golden complexion. I'm a more of a light to medium complexion. So this on me, number one, is very light. As you can see, it just looks like I put white powder on. So I do like how it gives like a brightening effect, because this could be really great as a base, which is what I kind of used it as today for my blush. Then we have number two called Crystal Luna. This one is more of like a pale lilac, and I wish in the pan it would translate like that onto the cheeks. Like I was expecting something with a little bit more pigment and color to it, but it definitely does translate super white on me. Like it's giving me a white cast, if I'm being honest. But I am wearing another blush on top. I'm wearing a blush from Alicia, my favorite one, and I feel like because I have this as a base underneath, it really gives like a brightening effect to it, which I actually do love it for that. So I think I'm going to be using these blushes a lot more as a base rather than a blush on its own. And I will say that this is a Chinese brand, so they do cater to Chinese makeup trends and techniques and style. If you see a lot of like Douyin makeup looks, they do wear a lot of pale blushes, so I wouldn't like write it off completely, but just know that these blushes are super pale. They come off very white, and when you start packing them on, they can look a little bit powdery, so just keep that in mind. And then next up we have number three, Sakura Avenue. I love these shade names, by the way. This one in the pan is a super peachy pink, but on me it translates a little bit more lilac, but again it is still very pale on me. This is one that I would again use as a base rather than a blush on its own. Now I have a number four, Honey Lemonade, and this one is again another pale peachy color, but this one has more of like that orange undertone to it. On me it's a really light soft peachy pink, and again it's still a little bit too light for my liking. And now I have number five, Unripe Peach, which goes a little bit deeper. This one I could use alone, but I would love if it was just a little bit darker. But out of the six, this one definitely is a little bit deeper than the rest. In the pan, it's a nice dusty rosy pink, and on my cheeks it translates to a pretty peachy pink, which I do like. So this one out of the bunch I definitely could wear, and it definitely would be one of my favorites out of the six. And then lastly we have number six, Frosty Rose. In the pan it's a cool tone mauvey kind of color, and again it's a little bit darker than the rest. So number five and number six are the darker blushes that if you are like my complexion, like we could get away with this on its own, but if you're any deeper than me, then it's gonna look very pale on you. So those were all six of the blushes. They are super pretty, but I will say overall a lot of them are very pale, where it translates on the cheeks like white powder. So it does have that brightening aspect, and I feel like I found a way to work with them into my makeup style, and I actually love the final result. Like having it as a base, like I feel like my cheeks just look very bright right now. Even though I love this blush that I'm using on top, it just looks a little bit brighter, so you have that aspect, and I feel like I just found a new technique that I love. But if I had to choose a favorite shade, I probably would go for number five, Unripe Peach, because this is the one I could use as a blush, but it is still cutting it. It's still a little bit light on me, but I definitely, you know, love mixing my blushes as well. Overall in this collection, it's not my absolute favorite product in the collection, because when you look at it in the pan, I was expecting them to have a lot of pigment, and the shades when you look at it in the pan are super pretty, so I was kind of expecting that to translate on my cheeks. So I was a little bit taken back when some of them, you know, literally appeared white on my cheeks, but nonetheless I think you definitely can work it. And for the price, I mean, for $26 and the packaging, I think it's a pretty decent blush. And then next up in the collection, we have their Crystal Lip Glosses. These go for $22 USD, and there are 9 shades in total. There are 3 different packaging shades. We have the pale pink, the purple, and then we have a pale light blue. It almost looks white, but there are 3 of each in this packaging. But before I show you all 9 shades and what they look like on me, let's talk about the formula first. So they're claiming this as a gloss, but I personally would describe this to be more like a lip tint, and this is a formula that I absolutely love, guys. I love a glossy lip. Like, that is just my moment right now. The best way I could describe this or compare it to, if you guys have tried Pony Effects lip tint, I'll put a photo here because I don't know exactly the name. I tried this back in 2016 when Pony was cruelty free, and this reminds me exactly of that, right down to even the scent. So there is a scent to this formula, so if you are very sensitive, just be aware. It's like a nice light fruity kind of scent, but there is a fragrance for sure. But it reminds me so much of that lip tint where it's very, very thin and watery, but it has a nice juicy gloss to it. It's not sticky at all, and it also gives your lips a little bit of a tint, so even if you do wipe it away, I will say there is a little bit of staying power there. I have worn a lot of them like throughout the whole day. I took them out, put it in my purse. Although they don't last very long, they're very easy to touch up, and it's just super comfortable. I love how my lips look, and the shades they have are so pretty. I think there's definitely a better range and depth within the lip colors compared to the blushes for sure. You definitely will have a shade that you will like within the 9. So with that being said, let's dive into each of the shades one by one. So from JO1 to JO3 is the pink packaging, and these three definitely have more of like an orange peachy undertone. So if that is your vibe, it's my vibe. I think you definitely might want to look into the first three. So JO1 is a really nice muted peachy shade. It is super pretty, so up my alley. Absolutely love this one. Then we move into JO2, which has still that peachy aspect, but it has a bit more pink in it, so it kind of looks like my lips but better. Also love this shade as well. And then we have JO3, which is a little bit more orangey and peachy, and it just goes a little bit darker than JO1, but still a gorgeous shade. Now we move into JO5 to JO6, which comes in the purple packaging, and these have more of like a pinky berry undertone to them. So starting off with JO4, which is a shade that I'm actually wearing right now in the intro. This one is a nice plum mauvey berry kind of shade. It does go a little bit deeper than the first three that we saw, but I absolutely love this shade as well. And now we have JO5, which is a mid berry pinky shade. This one is a little bit brighter than JO4, but I really do love this mid berry tone. Now we have a JO6, which is, I would say, a cooler tone mauvey shade. And then going into JO7 to JO9, this comes in the light baby blue packaging. And these shades are a little bit darker than the rest, so if that's something that you want, then you might want to look into JO7 to 9. So first up we have JO7, which I would say is like a mid-tone rosy terracotta shade. It has a mix of like that brick kind of tone, but also mixed with that rosiness as well, and this one does go a little bit deeper. Again, it's super pretty. And then we have JO9, which is like a mix between a red and an orange. It has that like autumn vibes to it. It is really pretty. I think this would be perfect for a gradient lip as well. And then lastly we have JO9, which I would describe to be like terracotta kind of shade. So this would be a nice daily lip color for sure with a good lip liner. And then lastly, to wrap up the collection, they did come out with some accessories to match perfectly with this collection. So there are 2 blush brushes that go for 15 USD, one in the pale pink and then one in the purple. It is a short-handed brush, and it's a stippling blush brush, or you could use it for foundation, but I used it with all of the blushes, and I wouldn't say it's the most high quality brushes. It does stray a lot, but I mean, it gets the job done. It's not what I typically would use for applying blush anyway, but these are super cute. You can see there's like a little heart-shaped detailing on the hardware there, so automatically I already love that. So these are pretty, they do the job, but I wouldn't say like it's the best highest quality. And if you're paying $15 for one brush, I do think it is a little bit pricey. And then lastly, we have the handheld mirrors. These go for $25. There are two shades. We have one in the pink and the purple. Those are the main colors of the collection, and you can see all of the detailing on the mirror. And I'm slowly gonna make a little collection of handheld mirrors and little makeup mirrors, because I don't know, I just love them. And I feel like because I film and when I do my tutorials, it's just really cute. So whenever I'm doing a pink look, you're gonna see this mirror, and whenever I'm doing a purple look, you will see this mirror. But that does complete the entire unicorn collection from Flower Nose. Everything, as you can tell, is absolutely stunning, like no words at all. The most beautiful makeup I have ever seen in my life. I adore it. If I had to choose my favorite products, it would definitely be the lip glosses, lip tints, and I think there's definitely more of a variety. Although like maybe when I swatch all of them, it might look similar, but I assure you, on the lips they do look different from each other, and I think you definitely can find a shade that caters to you and your preference. So that would be the highlight for me. But I think overall everything did perform quite well. I think the downside was the blushes being too light. I can see why they are like that, because when you look at Douyin makeup, it kind of looks like that, you know what I mean? So it does make sense. I think just coming from a Western makeup perspective, it's a little bit different, but it was such a joy to use everything. And Flower Nose does ship internationally now. They don't ship to a lot of countries, but they definitely do ship to a few more countries outside of China. But also I do have an affiliate code with Flower Nose now, so you will see that in my description as well. It is my name Judy at checkout for 5% off, which I know is not a lot, but it's still a discount. But I will receive a small commission if you do choose to shop with my code. I gave you my recommendations, I gave you what I thought was maybe not worth it, but I think overall this collection is beautiful, and they have so many other beautiful collections as well. I'll leave a video up here where I tested a few products from a different collection. That was a few months ago. With that being said, that was the entire collection. I would love to know your thoughts down below in the comments. What was your favorite product? Favorite shade? Let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. And also, if you guys did enjoy today's video, if you could give the video a thumbs up for me, I would appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching as always. I love you, and I'll go ahead and see you guys in my next video. Bye!